generate the bodhicitta, the pure motivation to listen to this teaching for the sake of attaining full enlightenment state, for the benefit of all sentient beings. So Kyabje Rinpoche will give a short teaching or explanation of the Lam Rim, or the graduated path to the enlightenment. So a very precise and elaborate teaching of Lam Rim would take very much time. One needs to explain all the preparatory stages and how to enter, the ways to enter into this path, or into the Lam Rim, and also the way to practice George meditation and so on. And so that is, it will take very long time, but most of you have already heard about those points from the teachings given here by Geshe Zopala, and so therefore Kyabje Rinpoche will now stick to the main points of the practice. So about now about the way of the teaching and listening to the teaching. A teacher, someone who teaches Lam Rim, should also generate or teach it with a pure motivation, with the altruistic bodhicitta mind. And you who are listening to the teaching should also take the teaching, listen to the teaching with pure and sincere motivation to take this as a means to attain full enlightenment state for the benefit of all sentient beings, not merely to attain higher fortunate status, rebirth in the future, or to obtain a better status in this life, or happiness in this life, and so on. So if these two, the purity of the motivation from the side of the teacher and the students are not there, not complete, then we would be wasting a very great, a very precious opportunity, since the Lam Rim is the only path through which all the enlightened beings have sort of passed, and it's the only way to attain that goal. And so therefore we would be wasting a very precious opportunity if we don't develop the right motivation. So the practice of Dharma, the actual practice of Dharma is meditation. To meditate on the points of the teaching, but in order to meditate, first we must learn, we must know the way to meditate, without which it's impossible to practice. To learn the Dharma, or to get the right knowledge of the Dharma, one must depend on somebody who can show us the way, who can teach us the way. There's no alternative. No. So now you are this time you are listening to the teaching of Lam Rim, and although it will be a brief one, short one, however, all the points must be complete. There's no way to teach Lam Rim with the incomplete points of the stages of it. So therefore, Kyabje Rinpoche will try to make it complete. So all the points or the stages of Lam Rim are included in two main points. That is how to the practice of Guru devotion and to train the mind. Having found the Guru, then how to train one's mind. So all the points of the Lam Rim are included in those two. So and out of those two points, the first is the most important. That is the practice of Guru devotion. It is called the root of the path, because it is it's like the root of a tree, without which there is no way to for a tree to exist or to stand. And for the practice of Guru devotion, there are two paths or two aspects: the practicing it in your mind, in thought, and then in action. So the first means how to develop the right attitudes towards the Guru, and the second is to offer one's service, of physical services, or this kind of activities. And the first, the practice of Guru devotion in mind or in thought, there are two. The first is to develop the right faith or devotion, and then to develop the respect by remembering the kindness of the Guru. So first is the to develop the right faith or devotion. In order to practice it, first one must recognize, one must find one's Guru or the spiritual guide.
lama jinima jude daran do toyate susu chungo sa amjo ne thusa bagi lama parche susu gango yuve lama.
So concerning the gurus, as we have we have done the George prayer this morning, and as they are all the as we have made all the homage or the salutations to all the lineage guru, starting from the fully enlightened Buddha Shakyamuni up to one's guru, one's own guru, all the lineage gurus of the two lines, the lines of the vast practice and profound view, all those gurus are called the indirect guru or the lineage guru.
수수 암자나 뭐서 수는마 최퇴되면 수수 심을마 최고 고아티에 주는다. 야 치수는 마저베 시카시치는 마저는 수수 대바진 추수사게 남한테 자갈라마.
And the guru or the person who is benefiting benefiting us directly by giving teaching and showing the way directly to us, from whom we receive even few words of dharma, so that person is considered as the root guru or the direct guru. So the root guru does not mean necessarily somebody who is sitting on a high throne, some very impressive looking, does not require these qualities. Even the person who is teaching us in a very informal way, one's own like a private tutor or the tutor who give us the teaching of the dharma, even in a very informal way, in a simple informal way, that person should be considered as one's root guru. And that root guru one should consider as manifestation or the embodiment of all the lineage gurus and all the Buddhas.
Sanje chonde de choju sanje tgazu shaja toba yenje sanje yore sanje chomal tu zwa chim sanje tamje le sei shu yore ngazu de sei bere ngazu yu shu mare.
The fully enlightened Buddhas constantly paying attention or looking with their great compassion and great love and compassion to all sentient beings equally without discrimination. And so we are also, without any question, we are also included in the object of the great compassion of the Buddhas. So there's no Buddha who sort of excluded us from his sphere of compassion. Let alone ourselves, the human beings, even up to the smallest insect crawling underground, are also under the constant attention of the enlightened ones. And as a fruit of the wholesome karmas or actions we have accumulated in the past, we have now obtained fortunate human rebirth, and we have encountered uh, the guide, or the spiritual guide, the necessary guide, who is showing us the all the method step by step, and this way we have the possibility to develop our mind gradually on the path. So such a person or such a guide we should consider as a real manifestation or embodiment of the Buddha, because if Buddha, enlightened one, come in their extraordinary form, then even though they are in front of us, we have not the possibility, or we have not the capacity to perceive it, because of our many layers of obstacle we still must get rid of. So it is impossible to comprehend or to perceive. So therefore, just fitting to our capacity, mental capacity, the enlightened ones appeared in an ordinary form like ourselves, and taking the trouble to lead us gradually on the path.
아니 산제 탐제가 가라서래 산제 지게만 저 샤마 차유샤고 말에 등이 산제 탐제 지도 그 들어가대 양게 자가라면 수이 산제 건드게 선거로 제니 저송 건드기 뭐 타체는 되고.
So since we are under the care or the constant the compassion of all the Buddhas without difference, without discrimination, so the only way how all those Buddhas are helping us directly and leading us on the path is through the presence or through the emanation of one's personal guide.
대상로 코딩 아주 너무 너무가 관계 진지지 말이야. 산제 단지 되고 노진진도 뭐니 권조 송지 자와데 라마나 자체로 생각을 해야지 된다지 생각 좀
So that is the meaning of the prayer to the Guru, which we often recite, which says the embodiment or the collected form or the embodiment of all the Buddhas, and the very nature, the one who holds the very essence or the nature of the Vajra holder, and the one who is the root of all the triple gems. To the Guru I salute, or I prostrate. So that contains that this verse contains that meaning, the meaning of the Guru. So with this way, transformation of the attitude or of the view of the Guru, we should generate a pure faith or confidence in one's Guru. And secondly, then we should also pay the respect by remembering the great unsurpassable kindness of the Guru to us. And in general, there are many, the kindness of the Guru is so many, in so many aspects and forms, but the greatest of all is the teaching Dharma to us. Because teaching of Dharma is not something, one should not take it just for granted, because it is something so rare and something so precious and so rare. It's not easy to encounter, not easy to find. As it is said in many sutras, that even for eons and eons, and kalpas and kalpas, to get in touch with the teaching of the Dharma is so rare and so difficult. And so therefore now we have, at this time, we have we have a very great opportunity that all the necessary the teachings are all at hand. They are all available, and we can receive teachings directly on every aspect of teachings directly from the gurus. Therefore, kindness of the guru, that kindness of the guru is immeasurable. The fully enlightened Buddha Shakyamuni, before his enlightenment, as he in his former lives as a bodhisattva, had gone through great hardships, so many times, great hardships to receive even just one line of the teaching of Dharma, or one verse of the teaching of Dharma. For one line of the teaching, he had to sacrifice his life so many times, and even one occasion, someone once would give him the teaching, a short teaching, only if he would write it with his blood, with the bone as pen, with his blood write it on his own skin. And so this way the bodhisattva has gone through great sacrifice and hardships just for a few words of the teaching of Dharma. So we fortunately at the moment do not have to go through such problems, and all the teachings are available, and we have teachings more than enough. Those teachings are poured on us, and so therefore we should remember always the kindness of of our teachers. So, so that was the essence of the guru devotion in thought or in one's mind, and now the guru devotion in practice consists all the active all the services, or the active practice of respect to the guru, such as making prostration to the guru, and also giving help service, physical service to serve the guru and to help the guru. All those are included in the second one. So, so that is those are the meaning of the two important points: the practice of guru devotion in thought and in action. And in general, many masters do not give this teaching, do not emphasize too much on this teaching of the guru devotion. It's not giving very openly or very immediately. So the reason for that is some people, when they some people who cannot listen to the teaching in a proper way can misunderstand this the need of the practice of Guru devotion, and they misinterpret it as indirect sort of demand from the Guru for service or respect for to himself, sort of some with false implication, and but this is completely wrong. And because of this kind of danger of the misunderstanding, often lamas do not give it immediately.
rāngā tsōsū dījū mācchā nā yuñi jīyā māyā yīnzā ngā rāsu tērā jūchū tōng sōngā yuñi jūrū tōng tē sāngcē tāngcē jīyā tā rāngā lāmyā ngō sānglō tōng nē chā cē chū sū tōng chū bā pū nē pū sū wā tā chā ngā tā jīyā tō tsō kāngā tō nē shīnyē tē tsū rē dī.
So in for the practice of Dharma, most important thing is to accumulate merit and to purify the obstacles. And so so like this morning before the teaching, we have done the Torture prayer, which consists the invitation of the Guru, of all the Buddhas and lineage of the Guru, also offering of the water and other offerings, and they're making prostrations and making requests, and all these things are all means to accumulate. They are all means to accumulate merit. In short, they are all included in the very practice of Guru devotion. It is a form of Guru devotion.
tsōsū dījū jī tsāgī shīn tē lā tsō shīn yī sī chān nē bā nā dō wā lāma sāngyē chān sī ngā chī shān dō wā tē tā kī ndō bā tō tō chēn chāng nē tē tsō sā dījū jī tē rāng kī lāma yā ngō tē shēn yō na tē sō tā ngā lō tsō jīg tō tō nē rāng kī tsā wā lāma yī pā chā mā nā tsā wā lāma chū shī chān pā chū shā nā nē tē chē tē tō nā jī bō rē sā mā rō chā nē tē bā yō na tsōsū dījū yā bō mī bō yō yō rē.
So as we see in the picture above Kyabje Rinpoche, this big assembly of Guru and Buddhas and so on, which we visualize in the Gyurche, this it's called Tsokshing. Tsokshing means field of merit, because through this we accumulate merit. And so when to practice the meditation with Tsokshing in a proper way is if we see all these different forms of the Buddhas and so on and Gurus and so on, all as an emanation of one's own Guru, it's a manifestation of one's own Guru. So it's all like a creation of one's own Guru, and if so it's created from the Guru and is can be absorbed into the Guru, nothing other than one's Guru. If we see it in that way, if we can see it in that way and practice the meditation and all the practices in such a way, then our practice would be very effective for accumulation of merit and purification of obstacle. So when we practice devotion and respect to the Guru, if we discriminate in the Gurus, like Gurus with high titles or sitting on a higher throne, we respect more, we have more devotion, but we sort of disregard or don't take care of those Gurus who teach us every day, teach us the Dharma, and sort of informal and sort of equal to oneself. We don't make the same respect and faith. In this way, if we discriminate the levels of the Guru, in that way, there's no way to practice Dharma properly. For example, Kyabje Rinpoche said that if whether you practice devotion or respect to the Guru, for example, to Kyabje Rinpoche himself, it wouldn't make any difference to himself. If someone makes respect or have devotion or faith in him, that doesn't make him higher or lower. Doesn't make any difference. But he is somebody who just who is around for a few days and then disappear again. But since he's invited here to give the teaching, he can't just say something and do not give the important things, what is really necessary and what is really beneficial for you. And if you live like that, just say something for a few days and just fulfill his duty and leave. That wouldn't be right, because you need to know the proper way to the practice all the necessary things. Although Rinpoche will be gone after some time, but you have to still deal with the gurus. And for example, here with the Geshe-la, day-to-day relation and taking teachings and so on. So and like this, there is a constant sort of relation or connection with the guru. So one doesn't know how to relate with the guru in a proper way. Then one could be wasting very much time. That's why Kyabje Rinpoche has mentioned briefly this practice, this need of practice Guru devotion. Moreover, you are going to take tantric initiations in a few days, and for to enter into the path of the tantra, the Guru devotion is even more emphasized. It's even more necessary, sort of indispensable. Not just the mere Guru devotion, but a very profound and very stable and strong Guru devotion is necessary for the practice of Tantra, without which the practice of Tantra can never be fulfilled. So once we have found the Guru and practiced the Guru devotion, we can't just stop there, just only with the practice of Guru devotion. Then one must proceed further on in the practice, on the path, and so one should take the teaching or the guidance from the Guru and put it into practice. And so this the practice of the Dharma, or putting the teaching of the Guru into practice, means the training one's mind, to practice the training of the mind. That is the essence of the Dharma. So the lojong, or training of the mind, it means to transform the mind, to bring about very necessary, a good transformation of the mind, to transform this mind, this state of mind, which is fully under the control or fully sort of governed by delusions like the ignorance, anger, attachment, and so on. That we must bring our mind from that state to another. So to train the mind on the path, we must practice the what is called the three paths, the parts the parts of the the parts of the three beings. It's called beings, or the higher scope, medium scope, and the lower scope. But these we should not take these three parts completely diverse, completely sort of unrelated to each other, leading to completely different goals. We shouldn't take it like that. Rather, there are three grades, three stages on one path, on which we must develop gradually. So the first the training, or the first the realization that we must gain is about the future life of ourselves. Although we always often speak about it, but still, although we speak about it very much, but in reality we are not truly or sincerely concerned about it very much, and so that is so that attitude must be changed, and instead of just sort of sticking to the welfare or to welfare of this lifetime alone, we should train the mind to look further than this life. So for that, first of all, we must recognize our own, our present, the actual situation. We have obtained now a very precious opportunity, a precious human rebirth. So this rebirth that we have obtained now is called Theljoji Milu. That means the human rebirth with the freedoms and endowments. So the freedoms or the leisure, Thelwa, means that we have leisure, we have time to practice dharma. For example, if we are born in any of the three unfortunate realms, then let alone to practice dharma, even there's no, for example, in beings in the realm, in the hell realm, even a thought of practice of dharma or about dharma cannot occur in their mind even for a moment, because they are constantly oppressed under so unbearable great suffering for all the time. So there's no thought of dharma at all. So although we have already accumulated in the past sort of many real effective or valid cause or karma to take rebirth into such in such a realm, in the hell realm. But for this time, thanks to the blessing or the compassion or the help of the enlightened ones and the gurus, and also to one's own one's accumulation of wholesome actions in the past, instead of falling into such a status, we have by chance we have obtained a very favorable status now. So in the same way, if one is born in preta realms, then the beings are constantly occupied with the search for to fulfill their suffering of hunger and thirst, and which is so unbearable. And so there is again, practice of dharma is quite impossible. In the same way as we see very clearly, very evidently, the animals also have also great difficulty, great sufferings they are by nature, and sufferings caused by human beings and so on. So they are under constant sufferings, and moreover they have such very heavy ignorance, which does not permit them to understand the necessary things. So therefore, if we are born in any of these three unfortunate realms, it is quite impossible for us to practice dharma. But now we are free for the moment, free from those obstacles, and have obtained a very precious opportunity, completely fit for the practice of dharma. So therefore we should rejoice about it. In the same way, in other fortunate realms, like in the realm of asuras, although they have lesser sufferings, but they are again constantly, their mind is constantly sort of occupied with anger and jealousy and so on towards devas, towards God and so on. So therefore they still have very great obstacle for the practice of dharma, to understand the dharma. In the same way, the gods such as the what is called the long-living gods, they also have many obstacles to realize that the most of the human beings, although they are human beings, but still it's very seldom that they have the possibility or opportunity to practice Dharma, because most of the human beings have again problems and many obstacles to come to it. If we are born, for example, in a land where there's no, let alone the practice, but even not the word of Dharma, not the name of the Dharma is ever known, ever heard, then it is quite difficult to put anything into practice. And even if we are born in a place where there is Dharma, but if we are born with certain inner obstacles, physical obstacles, for example, we are completely retarded, or we are completely dumb or completely deaf or something, then again these can become also very great hindrances for the practice, for understanding the Dharma, but we are for the moment free from those hindrances. So therefore, if we practice Dharma, there we are completely free from all the obstacles. There's no excuse of the obstacles. It's completely, for the moment, we are completely free, away from all the obstacles. That's why this rebirth is called human rebirth with freedom, with 8 freedom. In addition to these 8 freedoms, we have also obtained what is called the endowments, then the favorable circumstances. First is we are born into a world, into a country where Dharma can be obtained, where Dharma is available. And also we are born as a human being, complete, as a man or as a woman. We are born as a complete human being, free from obstacles. And also we are free from all the physical obstacles, such as defect in the senses and so on. We are free from all these obstacles. And also we have not committed any heavy crimes, like 5 heinous crimes. There's no need to mention the 4, but one of the heinous crime is to where there can be possibility is to kill one's father and mother, but none of us have done such a crime, so therefore this obstacle is also away.
다들 전화도 시라 풍그에서 놀러 노냐 주네 노를 무치를 지라도는 틀에 냠치 왜 감미세게 콜라 팬도 춤을 제유네 괜히 나를 요시는 판바로 와 다가나 이제 뇌대는 배 이걸 넘어지 마지는데 판바 상관없이 성동
So, so this way we are free from all the negative circumstances, all the interferences, and endowed with all the positive circumstances, or the favorable conditions. So, such an opportunity is truly very rare and hard to obtain, but we have obtained it now. So we should really, it is quite sort of unbelievable situation. So we should rejoice very deeply for it, and should take and determine to take the essence out of it, to give meaning to such a precious life that we have obtained. So, and not to waste it. If we waste it, also which says that, for example, if we look around in one's own country, there are very few who has the possibility to practice dharma, and let alone the whole country, even in one's town, or in one's village, or in one's own family. Oftentimes we find that it's only oneself that who has this kind of opportunity. So therefore one realized that this way we realize that we have obtained a very precious and rare opportunity. So therefore we should rejoice very strongly for it, and should not waste it, because if we waste it, it would be like somebody who has by chance have obtained a very precious jewel, like wish-fulfilling gem or something like that, and then without sort of understanding the value, knowing the value of it, and value of it, if one throws it into the rubbish bin, then it is very it's a very great shame. So like that we should realize our own present situation. So when if one meditates, if one wants to meditate properly, in an effective way, then one should apply this kind of contemplation in one's meditation, and contemplate on all these points, and realize and come to the point of recognition of precious human rebirth, and this with this conviction in the in one's mind, then we also visualize the Guru above one's head, and then pray to the Guru very strongly to give the blessing, to realize, to gain this direct or a profound realization of this point, recognition of human rebirth, and again try to contemplate, and so on. So one must practice contemplative meditation or analytical meditation and concentrative meditation in sort of an intertwined way, one after another. Then meditation will be very effective. Otherwise, just sitting quiet, doing nothing, thinking nothing, would not be of high value.
지왕하고 주야고지 마사는 연구 말해. 아니 내가 전도 따내 되는 왜 최단 최배 되려면 그러고 도대 캔듯이 제단 공부. 니좀에 캔거를 붙이니 버려지. 공부 잡나 할래도或者전화 가르치기도. 공부 봐서도 그 전화 친구 지기는 야부지. 전화 매케는 거네 건 사셔야죠. 다 전화들라 매일을 전화 쳐야지 도야요 말해서 말이지.
So, so we realize that this precious human rebirth is very rare because of the cause of the particular cause of it, as well as if we compare to the great number of the sentient beings, the number of the people, then we realize that one's present rebirth is something very rare, very seldom, very rare. But the rareness itself only is not the greatest quality of this rebirth. Although something is very rare, but it has no real use or no real great benefit, then it still does not mean very much. But our rebirth is not only is rare or very difficult to obtain, it is also with high value, a very great value, something which is so useful and so beneficial. So we should realize that with such rebirth as we have obtained now, even with making effort for a short time, like few days, if we make certain effort, we can already do something very beneficial, something very great, something very beneficial for a long term for the future, for a long future. And not only that, if one makes an effort with such a rebirth, let alone any other goals, even the highest goal of attaining enlightenment, full enlightenment state, which is the most beneficial and most precious for all sentient beings, can also be attained or obtained through making an effort with this kind of rebirth. So that is the greatest sort of value of it. Then we should think, contemplate, and see what can be done with this life, which is really truly beneficial for us. If, for example, to collect a great amount of wealth, is that something which is very beneficial, or to try to gain some very high position in the society, some very high position, or try to win lots of friends and supporters and so on. And if we think very precisely deeply about this and think of every possibilities in this life, then we will come to the conclusion that all these kind of ordinary or mundane goals that we can accomplish in this life or through this body cannot give the real help or the real solution which we need. Because moment from day to day, moment to moment, what we are approaching, where we are going, So we are sort of stepping towards the death, towards the end of this life. So therefore, all these other goals do not have a real and or ultimate value. Even in the in the world, a person who cannot think, cannot look forward, cannot look far, and cannot make the plans in the long run, and who is only satisfied, who is only preoccupied with or distracted very of the present, about the present, and of just day to day, and does not think far, is considered to be unintelligent. So as we approach towards the end of this life, towards the death, it is a moment which is certainly, without any doubt, without any doubt, will occur someday, and we are sort of running towards it. So if we contemplate and think what is really beneficial at that moment, which at that very sort of crucial moment, then we will see that even if we have collected very great amount of wealth and when that time occurs, when the death occurs, then let alone all the other possessions, even we have no right to take even a piece of hair with us, or even a piece of hair cannot have no value whatsoever for us any longer. A poor beggar who lived a very poor life with shortage of food and drinks and so on, when he dies on the side of the road, and a king who had everything what he wants or wishes, when he dies in the palace, and there's no difference. That is the day when they really becomes equal. In the same way, although in one's life we have so many friends and relatives and family members, and also great many supporters and so on, but when we depart from this life, then we cannot take even one person, or even smallest part of somebody with us. In the same way, somebody who has great power, like a king or a head of a country, or general, anybody like that, who has a real great force and power in his life, when that time occurs, then that power also is completely something to be left behind. The power has reached to a limit. It does not function any further. Let alone everything else, but even this, even one's physical body with which we are born, and always sort of live together, inseparable, even for a moment, inseparable. together, that is also to be left behind. It does not continue with us any longer. And also, even at that time, even if one's friends and very dear, most dear ones, have great love and great compassion and love and sympathy and everything, but they also cannot help us help oneself anything except just touching here and there, or just causing some more confusion or suffering in the mind of the dying person. So that is that is the moment when the present life and the future is there's a very clear limit, has reached to the clear limit or the boundary of this life and the future life. So everything, anything which is belonged to this life, whatever they are, material, whatever, anything, are from that moment has no relation whatsoever with oneself, as one enters into the boundary of the future. So there's no turn back at all. It is like the leaves of the tree, which is grown on the tree, from the tree. As long as it lives there, it is always sort of connected with the rest of the tree. But when the winter comes and when the leaves dries and when it falls down, from that moment it falls down, then all the relation between the two, the leaf and the tree, is completely broken, and there's no ever turn back. No connection. So it is it's like it's a separation completely, so entire separation. So there's no connection left, not any degrees of connection is left. We, for example, cannot write, cannot receive any message, or cannot come around, or so there's no hope anymore to for the reunion with all the things we have left behind in this life. So what continues with oneself? It is the imprints of the karma, or the actions one has accumulated. Whether unwholesome or wholesome actions we have accumulated, that the imprint of that continues. Even if we don't want, even if we want to leave it behind, there's no way to leave it behind. It just continues and accompanies us. So about this we should contemplate and meditate. And and realize that what is truly beneficial and truly sort of valuable is to practice Dharma. So therefore, determine one's mind to practice it. So, so that is the way to meditate, to contemplate, and what we contemplate about. So, and then, so it is completely certain that this life is will come to an end, and the death will overtake it. And so, then, when would that the end will occur in the life? How long still we have time? How much time we still have? So if we meditate about this, then there are very few people who can live, say, 100 years or over 100 years. There are not so many. And say if we live about 70, 80 years, and if we say if our lifespan, if it's about 70, 80 years, then from that, still very much time we have already have wasted, and have already lost, and which cannot be regained. And so still little time is left ahead, and we are completely uncertain, and we have no insurance whatsoever when it is really going to end. Although we hope to live, to still for some more years, but if we think precisely, there's no real any guarantee or insurance that we are going to live that long. And so, for example, the age of the people does not make real difference. A real difference in about the death. For example, it happens so many times that parents or grandparents has to perform the funerals of the children or the grandchildren, and so there's no real certainty of the age.